Hello. Doing another deflate downwinder. This one's in Fiji. I'm going to do a voiceover here for you guys. We have some drone footage and some GoPro footage of the run, so we can compare them. Just go through my equipment a little bit. Using the PPC wing here. It's the 2.8 meter. It's the only wing I use. As I deflate, I'll deflate the center strut first. It will still fly with that deflated, so that gives me a head start. I'll then deflate the leading edge and then fold it away quickly so it doesn't get wet and waterlogged. And then I'm using a 55 litre bag there. I've used all sorts of bags in the past, 30 litre, 40 litre, whatnot. The smaller bags are a pain to pack the wing into, and they get stretched out and they seem to lose their seal from being worked too hard. But the main purpose for me now using the bigger bag is it's very easy to pack the wing in. The bag itself is no heavier than a smaller literage bag. It has all the same pockets and straps and whatnot, so there's no weight disadvantage. But the true advantage is you have a nice airy package on your back. So imagine you're wearing a wing bag on your back. It's barely noticeable versus wearing something like a camelback drink bladder, where you can feel that tight shifting weight. So anyway, that was my thinking behind the wing. Got my sun protection there, wearing the Zhik shirt. I use that thing every day. Go get one. I got it from NZ Sailing. Mike at NZ Sailing, he put me onto it. It has a hood, a face cover. It's got sleeves. It's just the perfect shirt for the tropics and for cold weather, having the hood on top of your wetsuit. So that's a Zhik one. It was under $100, so, and I use it every day. So go get one. It's silly not to. Axis board there. That's a prototype. This one, it's not going to be for sale or anything. It's just testing shapes and design. I've got the 1201 front foil. Silly short advance plus fuse. The new one with the diode. 55 skinny rear foil. And 72 pro mast. The thinking of that setup was a setup that will get me on foil easy, basically. I'm still trying to learn this area, and the main thing for me is to get on foil. I can figure out everything from there. So here we go to the drone. On my knees there, I'll do a couple of paddles to activate the foil a touch before popping to my feet. It adds a bit of stability. Once on my feet, I will continue paddling forward at a slow rate to keep the foil engaged and the paddle in the water. It gives you another point of stability, having that paddle blade in the water that you can lean on. It's a hard environment out there to stand on a small board, so you need to do little things to help. And then I'll keep paddling downwind until I basically find something that I can catch. And what I'm looking for is a steep section, and how I'm not visually looking for it. It's basically something that's going to approach from behind. It's going to pitch my board backwards and forwards through the pitch axis. And that's a signifier that something steep has just hit me. And waves being waves, there'll be something following that thing that is very similar. So that first pitch instability is a warning sign that something steep is coming. So in that moment, I really want to be ready to go. I'll start paddling from that first signal, just trying to build up a momentum and a speed so that I have a head start when the true bump I want comes. And all my focus on this point is being stable, in control, making sure that my mind's not wandering in this one moment where it matters. I'll get hit by the second bump, steep bump, and as the nose of the board drops, I go hard, I paddle hard. I have a visual cue there of, is there an uphill in front of me? If so, maybe I can turn to either side to avoid it. But if not, I'll just stop paddling. But so you're looking for a flat section or a downhill section for your paddle up. But once up, I'm keeping my paddle at the ready. Even though I'm filming, I don't worry about the film angle straight away. It's more about keeping that paddle ready. You don't know where you're going to finish up when you've just paddled up. And after exerting all that energy, you don't want to get off foil. So keep pumping, keep paddling until you're in a zone that is familiar. So here, not much energy there where I am currently, but I've just found a peak go past, so I'm going to turn behind it, no doubt. Chase it down. You can see some shadowing there, that's valleys. And I'm basically trying to always ride downhill. So I'm trying to find terrain that lends itself to me foiling downhill. And the beauty of that is it runs forward with me. So if I time it right, I can run downhill with never reaching the bottom. So that's really important. It's a perpetual sort of motion thought of you want a downhill in front of you, but if you're running downhill, eventually you hit the downhill, right? So you have to prolong that run downhill, and that's just finding new terrain that lends itself to going downhill constantly. So here, paddling, riding down the line, looking for these downhill sections. This is actually quite a decent sized swell. Oh, there's a good valley in front of me there, right? But instead of running straight into that valley, I just hang out behind it and let that valley exist in front of me. And that allows me to keep using that downhill as a resource. I turned off of that one because there's reef in front of me there. So a lot of my thinking in this video is how do I get back to the beach, basically. There's a very narrow channel for me to find. So not optimal riding, but that's what you get when you're in a new area. But yeah, that's an important point of trying to find low points in the ocean, because that is a downhill you can utilize. But the important factor is don't just rush into the bottom of that downhill, because if you've done that, it's gone, right? You're at the lowest point. Now the rest of the ocean is above you. You've got to climb out of it. So keep that downhill, that hole near you, but never go into it. Just hang out around it, trim along it, do figure of eights behind it. Just keep it as a resource that you can constantly tap into a little bit. And then you keep finding moments like that. And that's a good thought pattern to have out there when you're beginning and it's not second nature yet, is look for these downhills. And it is very obvious in these bigger conditions. It's all swell. It's like little mini hills rolling around, and it's like being on a snowboard at this point, with terrain that you can just play on. So that's probably my biggest tip, is spot these downhills. Don't just use them up straight away. Hang out around them, tap into them, trim along them. If there's a valley in front of me and I can ride down the line, well, I'll ride down the line, keeping the bottom of the valley next to me as I run along that wave. And because me and that wave are both ending up in the same destination, you should be able to utilize it for a portion of your journey. If you run straight into the bottom of it, it's over. You got to find a new source. So I hope that's clear. That was my thought for this run for you guys, to maybe explain that. Into the shallow water here, you can see the very narrow channel here that that's all I have access to get in. And then I don't recommend this. This is very shallow water, pumping home. This is a hard sport on your body, and as you get to my age, I'm getting toward middle age, you have to look after yourself. And foiling into the shallows like this and jumping off, I actually hurt my foot a little bit there. I impacted. It's a thin layer of sand over the reef. But also my foil will have a scar from that impact of itself hitting the ground. And just look after yourself, look after your equipment. This is not an easy sport, so let's aim for longevity. Next up is the GoPro footage. So this is just as my peak paddle up. There, the peak's just gone under me, so I'm probably paddling pretty hard there to get on foil. It's a shame we can't see a bit more, but in front of me there's a bit of a runway of downhill, or at least flat, and you can see here I'm not filming straight away. I'm keeping that paddle at the ready in case I need it to dig out of something. I don't want to use all that energy getting on foil and then fumbling it right when I should be cruising. But now I'm comfortable. I'm working on getting my heart rate down, taking in the environment. And with that in mind, you can see how much the GoPro flattens out the footage. So all we really have to go on here is shadowing and textures on the water. I'm pumping across a plateau there, but a valley's just gone past, and I'm not going to run to the bottom of that valley. I'm going to trim along behind it. There I have turned down, but that means that I've got to find somewhere else now. So where do I go? Well, I'm going to follow one of these grooves, and just give myself access to a lower point in the ocean that I can keep tapping into. So momentum high there, I can run over that high point that I've just done, and then I'm looking for the next low point. Where can I travel to that's downhill? So there's an uphill there, so I have to pump through it. I made a bad decision, or maybe that wasn't a good decision. But actually a lot of this is just me having fun, because I haven't downwinded here before. So I'm just having fun in the bumps. I've been subfoiling a lot recently, so looking for sections that I can do a little turn on, just buzzing out on the experience of downwinding in Fiji. Good energy in the water, good energy in the environment. It's peaceful, warm, just beautiful. And then the riding is second nature to me now. So actually watching this and trying to explain what's happening is quite tough. It's not conscious thought anymore for me, this riding. But the good thing about that is that's coming for you too. So at some point it just becomes very natural. There's no tricks. It all reveals itself at a certain point, and you'll be able to downwind all of a sudden. So that may come over a little bit of time, but just stick with it. It'll come to you. It seems to be the same for everybody, that at the start it's quite a struggle, but at some stage it'll click for you, and then you'll just be a part of the group. So everybody's had this click happen, and everybody can downwind all of a sudden, and it's a great leveler of the playing field. Right, so like at that point, everybody's kind of at the same skill level, and then you can branch off from there and do your tricks or your turns or your small foils or whatever you want. But the actual reading of the energy becomes very obvious. So yeah, there I am, downwinding, looking for little valleys, trying not to drop into the bottom of them, just saving them, having a perpetual downhill available. I've seen the reef there, so I've had to veer off. It's quite sheltered in here, so those are small bumps now. So I have to work a little bit uphill in front there, so I've got to turn away from it. You don't want to be pumping up through raised water. The only time to really go uphill downwinding is when you have enough momentum that you can go uphill for free. So you're burning off speed, basically. But if you're finding that you're slogging and pumping a lot and pumping through uphills, you've probably made some incorrect decisions out there. So you'll learn it. Your goal is to keep going downhill, but don't use it all up at once. Think of it as like having a battery of downhill available. And just if you drain that battery all at once, you're going to have to find another full battery somewhere. So just tap into it, tap into that downhill. But most of all, enjoy the experience and be out in nature. And one other thing is, I've taken these runs quite seriously, so I've put a lot of thought in to the safety of this. So don't just go out there and start deflating, guys. Make sure you have enough knowledge to back it up, especially if you're in new areas. It's taken me about a month or two thinking this through and getting comfortable with the idea of downwinding where I am here. I'm not taking it lightly. I'm not just going out on a whim. So I'd appreciate it if you don't do that too. So think about your safety. Think about getting home to your loved ones. There's Alison. She's doing the drone footage, doing a great job. And there's my best boy, Kitty, island dog. He, in his spare time, climbs the coconut palms and actually collects coconuts for us. You wouldn't believe it. So anyway, be good, everyone. And I've got a few more of these coming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.